Life can be incredibly challenging when no one around you believes in your potential. Friends, family, colleagues, or society may doubt your abilities, ridicule your dreams, or dismiss your goals. This doubt can weigh heavily on your heart and mind, but in the midst of all this human disbelief, there is one whose opinion matters most, Allah. This reminder will encourage you to hold fast to your faith, understand your true value, and trust that when Allah believes in you, nothing else can stop your destiny. When we talk about divine support being greater than human approval, we must first understand the nature of human judgment. People see only what is in front of them. They judge based on circumstances, appearances, past failures, or their own limitations, and often they project their fears and insecurities onto others. You may find that those closest to you, friends, family, colleagues, fail to recognize the vision that burns in your heart, the calling that stirs your soul. They may laugh at your dreams, dismiss your efforts, or even try to convince you that your aspirations are impossible. And in those moments, it is easy to begin doubting yourself, to question whether you are capable, worthy, or chosen. But this is precisely the moment when you must understand that Allah's support is not conditional upon human understanding or approval. Allah does not measure your potential by what the world sees. He measures it by the sincerity of your heart, the faith you carry, and the obedience you maintain. Throughout the history of the prophets and the righteous, time and again we see the pattern. Those whom the world rejected, ridiculed, or underestimated were the very ones whom Allah elevated, honored, and used mightily. When nobody around you believes in your ability, your calling, or your purpose, remember that Allah's belief in you is unshakable, limitless, and eternal. It is His belief that sustains you in the wilderness of rejection, carries you through seasons of hardship, and equips you with strength that no human can provide. Even when doors close in your face, even when opportunities seem scarce, even when voices of doubt surround you, divine support remains constant. It does not waver, it does not diminish, and it does not depend on how many people validate you or applaud you. Allah sees what you cannot yet see, knows the potential within you that remains hidden from the eyes of others, and positions His angels, His blessings, and His guidance in ways that will manifest at the perfect time. Human approval is fleeting, temporary, and often unreliable, but divine support is enduring, unwavering, and powerful. When you anchor yourself in that reality, you are no longer tossed to and fro by every criticism, every doubt, and every negative opinion around you. You begin to understand that what truly matters is not the applause of men, but the approval of your Creator, and that His support alone is more than enough to accomplish what the world says is impossible. Faith in the unseen is one of the most challenging yet most rewarding aspects of a believer's journey. It is easy to have faith when you can see the results, when circumstances align perfectly, when every step seems clear, and when the approval of people surrounds you. But real faith, the kind that moves mountains and changes destinies, is forged in the unseen, in the invisible, in the moments when nothing seems to make sense and the world is full of doubt and discouragement. When nobody believes in you, when doors appear closed, when opportunities seem distant, and when your dreams appear impossible, this is the moment that calls for faith in the unseen. It is in these moments that your heart must trust in the reality that Allah knows what you do not know, that He has a plan greater than what the eyes can perceive, and that He is already arranging things beyond your comprehension. The prophets and the righteous faced circumstances that looked hopeless. Noah continued to build the ark when there was no rain. Ibrahim left his home trusting in a promise he could not yet see. Yusuf endured betrayal and prison with unwavering trust in Allah's plan. And the companions of the Prophet faced immense trials, persecution, and ridicule, yet they pressed on because they had faith in the unseen. Faith in the unseen is not passive, it is an active trust, a reliance that fuels action even when the outcome is invisible, a hope that persists even when circumstances seem impossible, and a courage that stands firm when every human voice says, "Give up," or "You will fail." It is knowing that the hand of Allah is orchestrating events in ways that are unseen but purposeful, that He is opening doors quietly behind the scenes while the world watches only walls, and that every trial, every delay, every rejection is a part of a divine strategy that will unfold at the perfect time. Those who rely on human validation are often swayed by circumstances, discouraged by opposition, and defeated by delay. But those who place their trust in the unseen are anchored in certainty, strengthened by divine wisdom, and empowered to move forward even when no one else can see the path ahead. This kind of faith allows you to keep striving, keep praying, keep believing, and keep walking forward in obedience and trust, knowing that what is hidden today will become your testimony tomorrow, and that Allah's timing is perfect and His provision is complete in ways that human eyes cannot yet perceive. Patience through rejection is one of the greatest tests of faith a believer can experience, because rejection cuts deep, it wounds the heart, and it challenges your sense of worth and purpose. When the people around you, the very ones you expect support from, do not believe in your dreams, mock your vision, or dismiss your efforts, it is natural for disappointment, frustration, and even anger to rise within you. Many give up at this stage because they allow human rejection to define their value, forgetting that the opinions of people are temporary, limited, and often clouded by their own fears and biases. Patience through rejection is the ability to endure these moments without bitterness, without giving in to despair, and without turning away from the path Allah has placed before you. It is learning to recognize that every closed door, every skeptical voice, every moment of isolation is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but an opportunity to draw closer to Allah, to strengthen your resolve, and to refine your character. The prophets and messengers faced rejection in ways that seem unimaginable. Muhammad was ridiculed, Yusuf was betrayed and imprisoned, Musa was opposed by Pharaoh and his people, and even Isa faced doubt and disbelief from those around him. But their patience through these trials elevated them to greatness and allowed Allah's plan to be fulfilled in their lives. Patience is not passive waiting, it is an active endurance, a persistent commitment to continue in obedience, prayer, and righteous action while trusting that Allah sees the larger picture. It is the knowledge that every trial, every moment of opposition, every human rejection is being woven into a divine narrative that will one day reveal its purpose. Patience through rejection strengthens your spirit, fortifies your faith, and teaches you reliance upon Allah rather than reliance upon people. It builds resilience in your character, allowing you to rise above negativity, persevere through adversity, and remain steadfast when the world turns against you. Those who master patience through rejection discover that what initially appears as failure or disappointment is often a preparation for a higher calling, a deeper blessing, and a testimony of divine support that no human opinion could ever diminish. Purpose beyond approval is one of the most powerful truths a believer can internalize because it frees the heart and mind from the constant need for validation from people. Too often we allow the opinions, judgments, and criticisms of others to shape our decisions, define our worth, and even determine the steps we take in life. When nobody believes in you, it is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if people do not see your potential, then perhaps it is not real, or perhaps you are not meant to achieve what you dream of. But the reality is that human approval is fleeting and limited. It is conditional, variable, and often based on superficial understanding, personal biases, or temporary circumstances. Allah, however, looks beyond what the world can see. He knows the intentions of your heart, the talents He has placed within you, and the purpose He has designed for your life. Your true calling, your divine mission, is not dependent on applause, recognition, or acceptance from the people around you. It is dependent on your obedience, your perseverance, and your willingness to align your life with His guidance and will. Many of the prophets, the companions, and the righteous throughout history experienced a world that doubted them, mocked them, or rejected them, yet they pressed on because their vision and purpose were anchored in the approval of Allah rather than the approval of men. Ibrahim left his family and homeland based on a promise he could not yet see. Musa confronted Pharaoh with nothing but the command of Allah, and the companions of the Prophet endured hardship and persecution while holding firmly to their mission, knowing that success is measured in the sight of Allah and not by worldly validation. When you understand that your purpose exists beyond human approval, you begin to operate from a place of confidence, clarity, and courage. You are no longer swayed by criticism, no longer paralyzed by doubt, and no longer discouraged by those who cannot see the vision or the calling that Allah has placed within you. You begin to recognize that every effort, every prayer, every step of obedience, and every sacrifice you make is significant not because the world applauds it, but because it fulfills the destiny Allah has ordained for you. Living for purpose beyond approval transforms every rejection into a redirection, every delay into preparation, and every moment of isolation into a sacred opportunity to cultivate your character, deepen your faith, and trust in Allah's plan in ways that human understanding cannot grasp. Stories of the prophets and the righteous serve as powerful reminders of what it means to remain steadfast when nobody believes in you, because their lives show us that human doubt is never a measure of your potential or the fulfillment of Allah's plan. Throughout history, Allah has chosen individuals whose hearts were aligned with His will, whose faith was unwavering, and whose obedience was complete, even when the world around them rejected them, ridiculed them, or opposed them at every turn. Consider the life of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, who was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, yet he never allowed the disbelief and betrayal of others to define him. He remained patient, faithful and steadfast, trusting in the wisdom and plan of Allah, and eventually rose to a position of honor and influence that no human could have predicted. Think of Prophet Muhammad A, who faced ridicule, hostility, and rejection from his own people, yet he persevered because he was grounded in divine support and guided by a vision that transcended the approval of men. Look at Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, who left his homeland, his family, and everything familiar to follow the command of Allah, enduring the scorn of his community, the disbelief of those around him, and the uncertainty of the future, all because his trust was anchored in the one who sees what is unseen. These stories, and countless others from the lives of the righteous, illustrate a pattern that repeats across time. Human disbelief is temporary and often short-sighted, but divine support is eternal, powerful, and transformative. They teach us that rejection, opposition, and skepticism are not signs of failure, but opportunities for spiritual growth, for strengthening our reliance on Allah, and for preparing us to receive the blessings and responsibilities that await those who persevere in faith. Every challenge faced by the prophets, every trial they endured, and every moment of isolation or doubt imposed by others was part of a greater narrative that revealed the majesty of Allah's plan and the potency of His support. When we study these examples, we see that their success, influence, and legacy were never dependent on human validation, but on their unwavering faith, obedience, and alignment with divine purpose, which serves as a reminder that our own journeys, no matter how lonely or opposed they may feel, are part of a greater design where divine support always triumphs over human disbelief. Turning weakness into strength is a profound principle that reveals the wisdom and power of Allah in shaping the life of a believer, because what the world sees as limitation, failure, or inadequacy can in reality become the very foundation for growth, resilience, and divine purpose. Every one of us faces moments when our abilities seem insufficient, our resources scarce, or our opportunities blocked. And it is natural to feel vulnerable, insecure, or defeated in those moments. Yet, those are the very moments when Allah's strength is made perfect in our weakness, when the trials and challenges we endure become the tools through which He builds our character, sharpens our resolve, and equips us for greater responsibilities. Look at the lives of the prophets, and the righteous Yusuf, though young and betrayed, transformed the weakness of his position into a position of authority and wisdom that saved nations. Musa, though fearful and initially hesitant, became a courageous leader through whom Allah displayed miracles and justice. The companions of the Prophet A, though often young, unarmed, and seemingly powerless, became the pillars of a movement that changed the course of history. Weakness is not a permanent label, but a temporary stage that, when met with faith, prayer, patience, and obedience, can be molded into extraordinary strength. The moments when people doubt you, underestimate you, or see only your shortcomings are precisely the moments when Allah is preparing you to demonstrate a strength that cannot be taught, inherited, or imitated, but only forged through reliance on Him. When you understand that weakness is not the absence of power, but an invitation for divine empowerment, you begin to approach challenges differently, viewing obstacles as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and limitations as the very conditions under which Allah's power can manifest. Every difficulty you face, every rejection you endure, and every moment of personal inadequacy becomes the canvas upon which Allah paints His strength, shaping you into someone capable of accomplishing what the world thought impossible, turning experiences of doubt into testimony, and transforming the invisible seeds of struggle into visible fruits of success and divine favor. Empowerment through prayer and reliance on Allah is the ultimate source of strength, resilience, and guidance for every believer, because when human support fails, when the world doubts you, and when every door seems closed, it is the connection with your Creator that opens the doors no one else can see and provides the power that no one else can give. Prayer is not merely a ritual or a habit. It is a conversation with the one who knows the unseen, a declaration of trust, and an act of surrender that acknowledges that your plans, your abilities, and your understanding are limited, but Allah's wisdom, provision, and timing are limitless. Through prayer, you align your heart with the divine will, open channels for divine intervention, and invite the presence of Allah into every area of your life, from your smallest decisions to your greatest challenges. Reliance on Allah, or tawakkul, is the practical manifestation of faith in action. It is choosing to move forward in obedience, hope, and courage while trusting that He will guide, protect, and sustain you even when the path is unclear and no human hand is extended in support. History is filled with examples of those who were powerless by human standards but became mighty through prayer and reliance. The prophets faced overwhelming opposition yet succeeded because they consistently turned to Allah in supplication, sought His guidance, and trusted Him fully. The righteous throughout history endured hardship, persecution, and isolation but remained empowered because they knew that the hand that holds the universe also holds their affairs and orchestrates their success. Prayer transforms weakness into confidence, doubt into certainty, fear into courage, and despair into hope, because it is the acknowledgement that you are not alone, that the Creator is actively working on your behalf, and that His power can overcome any obstacle, human disbelief, or limitation. Reliance on Allah does not remove challenges, but it equips you with spiritual strength, wisdom, and perseverance that surpasses what any worldly solution could provide, and it allows you to navigate life with peace, clarity, and resilience in the face of adversity. When you combine earnest prayer with complete reliance, every difficulty becomes surmountable, every rejection becomes an opportunity, and every moment of isolation becomes a sacred space for divine empowerment, ensuring that your journey is not determined by human approval, but guided, strengthened, and elevated by the one who believes in you when no one else does. Steadfastness in the face of opposition is a mark of true faith, because life will inevitably place challenges, resistance, and disbelief before you, and it is in those moments that the strength of your belief and the depth of your reliance on Allah are tested. Opposition can come from many directions, sometimes from enemies, sometimes from those you love, and sometimes even from circumstances that seem to conspire against your success. But steadfastness means standing firm, holding on to your principles, and continuing your journey without compromise or surrender, even when every voice around you encourages you to quit or change course. The prophets and the righteous were no strangers to opposition. They faced threats, mockery, persecution, and disbelief, yet they remained resolute because they were anchored in the promise and support of Allah. Prophet Muhammad, in the early days of his mission, faced relentless opposition, ridicule, and personal attacks, yet he never wavered, never allowed fear to dictate his actions, and never abandoned the path Allah had chosen for him. Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, faced Pharaoh, the most powerful ruler of his time, standing alone with the word of Allah as his sword and shield, and he demonstrated that steadfastness is not about the absence of opposition, but about the presence of faith. Steadfastness transforms opposition into a proving ground for character, a training field for patience, and a stage for divine intervention, because when you remain committed and unwavering, you allow Allah to show His power, orchestrate outcomes beyond human comprehension, and elevate your position in ways that those who oppose you cannot foresee. Human opposition is temporary, fleeting, and often short-sighted, but steadfastness in faith ensures that your life is aligned with eternal principles, divine timing, and heavenly support. The trials, resistance, and disbelief you face are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine your spirit, deepen your reliance on Allah, and prepare you for the victories, responsibilities, and blessings that await those who do not yield, who do not compromise, and who do not allow the world's disbelief to shake the foundation of their faith. Rising above criticism and discouragement is one of the greatest challenges a believer faces, because the voices of doubt and negativity often come from those closest to us or from society at large, and they can weigh heavily on our hearts, cloud our judgment, and slow our progress. Criticism can feel personal, it can feel unfair, and it can make even the strongest among us question our purpose, our vision, and our abilities. Yet it is precisely in those moments that a believer must learn to anchor their confidence in Allah rather than in the fluctuating opinions of men. Discouragement is a natural response when people do not understand your journey, when they cannot see the steps you are taking in obedience to Allah, and when their words reflect their own limitations rather than your potential. History is filled with examples of those who were criticized and mocked but rose to greatness through unwavering faith. Yusuf, despite the betrayal and slander he faced, became a source of salvation for nations. Ibrahim left his home and endured opposition for the sake of a promise he could not yet see. The companions of the Prophet faced ridicule and hostility yet remained steadfast because they trusted in Allah's plan above all else. Rising above criticism does not mean ignoring all counsel or feedback, but it means discerning whose words carry truth and whose words are merely a reflection of limited vision, envy, or fear. It means understanding that the opinions of those who do not see the unseen, who do not understand the purpose Allah has placed in your heart, cannot define your destiny. When discouragement surrounds you, it is an invitation to turn inward, to strengthen your relationship with Allah, and to seek guidance, clarity, and reassurance from the one who knows your heart, your potential, and the path He has laid before you. It is through prayer, reflection, and reliance on Allah that you find the courage to keep moving forward, the wisdom to navigate obstacles, and the perseverance to continue striving, knowing that every harsh word, every doubting glance, and every skeptical comment is not a measure of your worth, but an opportunity to rise higher, to grow stronger, and to demonstrate through action and faith that human criticism cannot derail the plan Allah has ordained for you. Unshakable confidence through divine assurance is the cornerstone of a believer's journey. Because when the world doubts you, rejects you, or underestimates you, it is the assurance from Allah that builds an inner strength no human opinion can ever erode. Confidence that comes from the world is fragile, dependent on validation, success, and recognition, and it can disappear the moment someone criticizes, rejects, or challenges you. But confidence rooted in Allah is unshakable because it is based on the eternal truth that He knows your heart, your purpose, and the path that has been set for you. When you place your trust in His knowledge, His timing, and His will, you are empowered to act boldly, speak truthfully, and pursue your dreams courageously, regardless of whether anyone else believes in you. The prophets, the messengers, and the righteous exemplified this type of confidence throughout history. Musa faced Pharaoh and the mightiest army with a heart full of divine assurance. Isa faced disbelief and betrayal with courage grounded in Allah's support. And Muhammad continued his mission despite ridicule and hostility, never doubting that Allah's plan would prevail. Divine assurance allows you to rise above fear, hesitation, and uncertainty, giving you clarity when the world seems chaotic and direction when human guidance is limited or misguided. It strengthens your resolve in the midst of rejection, emboldens your actions when circumstances seem impossible, and transforms challenges into opportunities for growth and testimony. When you internalize the reality that Allah believes in you even when nobody else does, confidence ceases to depend on temporary approval and becomes a reflection of trust in the one who controls the heavens and the earth, who sees what is hidden, and who is actively orchestrating every detail of your journey for your ultimate good and His glory. This unshakable confidence empowers you to persist in prayer, pursue your dreams, serve others faithfully, and face life's storms without fear, knowing that divine assurance is a shield against doubt, a source of courage in adversity, and the foundation for a life that fulfills the destiny Allah has designed just for you. As we reflect on all that we have discussed today, remember this truth above all else. The disbelief of people does not define your worth, your potential, or your destiny. Even when the world turns its back, laughs at your dreams, or doubts your abilities, Allah's belief in you remains steadfast, unwavering, and sufficient. Your purpose, your calling, and your journey are anchored not in human validation, but in divine vision and divine timing. Every challenge you face, every rejection you endure, and every moment of doubt is a stepping stone designed to strengthen your faith, refine your character, and prepare you for the blessings and victories that Allah has already written for you. Trust in Him, remain patient, persevere through trials, anchor your confidence in His support, and empower yourself through prayer and reliance on His guidance. When nobody believes in you, remember that Allah does, and His belief alone is more than enough to elevate you, transform your life, and fulfill the purpose He has uniquely placed in your heart. Step forward with courage, move forward with faith, and walk boldly in the path Allah has chosen for you are never truly alone, and His support will carry you beyond the limits of human doubt and into the fullness of your divine destiny.